Gather my children, and you shall see the step-by-step journey of how I came to be.
It's one of those Halloween trees where you have a dress form, or what looks like a dress form, and the bottom of the dress itself is actually like a Halloween themed tree that you can decorate. So I've got this old dress form that I use from my days as a costume designer.
Step 1. Create a wire cage.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate some tomato cages to actually make the skirt for my witch. I bought 2 so they could match. So the only way to do this is to start. I thought these would be big enough, but they're not going to work. Bolt cutters. This will cut through chains, padlocks, that kind of stuff. I have it pretty well placed together, and what I've been doing is taking pieces of duct tape and cutting it into little, actually tearing it across, going in, and where my wires overlap, I am taping that together with the duct tape so that those wires are attached together. Now, the other thing I'm doing is settling where the waistband or the waist of the skirt is to bend them all the way down. What I think is going to work best for my waistband is something called hang tape, galvanized steel hang tape. You can get this at the hardware store. I'm sure I got this at Home Depot, and that's what it looks like. It's galvanized steel, and it's got all these holes through it, and I love to use this kind of stuff for projects. I'm going to go ahead and sort of thread this through. And here is the finished structure, a metal cage. Yes, women were literally and figuratively trapped in metal cages.
Step 2. Drape a skirt.
So I have this fabric, which you can tell has a little bit of sparkle to it. And I got it years and years ago at a wholesale fabric place. They had tons of it. I don't know what you would use it for, because it's one of those fabrics that the minute you cut it, it sort of starts to roll in on itself on that cut edge, which makes it really hard to sew with. Actually, come to think of it, I've seen some cheap clubwear made out of this stuff because it's pretty sheer. Maybe a new shirt for me. So the waistband is set, and what I'm going to do now is go ahead and secure this around the bottom. And I think that I'm going to just glue down with hot glue, which will be really fun because this fabric is really sheer and it'll be bleeding through and burning my fingers. Sounds fun, huh?
Step 3. Create paper ruffles.
The next step is covering the outside of the skirt. And what I am doing is I am cutting a 24-inch long piece. So 2 feet. Set that aside. And I am going to fold it over on itself. So I'm actually making a folded 12-inch piece of paper. I'm going to run a bead of glue here along the top because this becomes pretty important when we're attaching it onto the skirt. Only I should probably use enough glue to make sure that it sticks. All right, so that's pretty secure. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along and cut this into strips. This is what I'm going for. So this becomes the layers of what I'm going to call the ruffles on the outside of the skirt. And now for some fun. Hot glue and my paper ruffles. What?
Step 4. Make a witch's head.
I've been thinking about what I can do that's really interesting that makes sense to our headless witch. Well, she is in fact going to be headless, and much like the headless horseman of Sleepy Hollow, I've decided she needs to carry her head with her. So what better thing to do than to make her head sort of her jack-o'-lantern for trick-or-treating, or in this case, passing out lethal treats to little children. What I've done is taken a jack-o'-lantern from Walmart, $1.98, cheapest thing you can buy, and I have this old witch mask, which is actually in two parts. What I've done is I've taken the front of the pumpkin and I painted it more or less a flesh color just because of what might show underneath. And this is how it's going to be laid out. So basically her chin
So
and her mask
beautiful.
will be attached to the pumpkin here. I've traced the shape of the mouth that I want to cut out and the shape of the eyes. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut those out.
Subscribe to this art collection channel, lest ye be hexed. Step 6. Whip up a hairdo.
And even though I'm partial to the gray, I think I will go ahead and use the white. I'm gonna start it like that by knotting it and folding it. And I'm gonna run very closely along the front of the mask. Just like that. Then I'm going to allow myself a good length. I'm going to go ahead and knot that end a little bit just to keep it from fraying. So that's the start of our white-haired witch. All the way up the top. So starting here, going, meeting the other ends, and starting again. That's the plan. See you in a bit.
That looks fabulous.
Here's what she looks like from the side, from the back, and from the front. I've decided that she will be holding her head handbag in her right hand across her right arm, like Sophia on the Golden Girls.
Step 7. Make the head glow.
The way I'm going to light this is really kind of fun. It's a new discovery from the Dollar Tree that I made. Oh yeah. Now on film, it kind of ends up flaring, but in person, this is a spectacular lighting effect. I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and put my ghost in upside down, at least for the time being. I don't need to have anything else that I need to put in there.
Step 8. Time to decorate.
I've made some purchases at the dollar store and also at Walmart that I'm going to be using. I also got this Mainstays Dahlia bush at Walmart. I'm going to be gluing some of these little spiders and some of these rhinestones that I have onto the belt. That gives me one side looking pretty interesting, I think. It's sort of like everything has to have multiple steps or it's not enough. So I've gone back, cut off the stems from the base of the bush and glued them back into the flowers so they're pretty secure. And what I'm doing is I'm taking some of this Deco Mesh ribbon, which I know I don't like to use a whole lot, but I wanted some of this lime green to really, this Halloween green to really pop through. And I'm going to use this with the flowers. I'm going to be spray painting these black sort of lightly so that they take on black without being too meticulous about them having full coverage. And again, I'm using the cheapest paint I could find. So it's this quick color spray paint from Walmart. It's under $3. In the spirit of Halloween, I'm adding more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. And right now, what I'm doing is adding a little bit of sequin magic to our wilted witch.
Comment below. What has been your favorite step?
Back to the dress. I know for sure I want this big long branch, front and center. We've got pretty good coverage all the way around. Let's check it out. For a more close-up perspective, you can see how all of this is tucked into the waistband and draping down from there.
Looking simply irresistible. Step 9. Attach the arms.
It's a 14 gauge wire. This has a good sturdiness to it, but it's also really pliable. What I've done is I have measured approximately 34 inches in length and then doubled that back down. So I've cut 2 of these, and they're actually for both of the arms. I'm going to cover those in pool noodle. The great thing about this, of course, is that I can thread this into the pool noodle really easily. And then I'm going to attach these hands. These came from the dollar store, which was not a bad deal. I take my pool noodle and cut it approximately in half. It's okay to use big scissors for something like this.
Step 10. Complete the look. The reveal.